Hey, in this video, I want to walk you through analytics. Analytics are my favorite part. If you are a YouTube junkie like me, then you live in the analytics. And if you want to be great on YouTube, you have to live on the analytics. But the thing is, when you look at the analytics, when you live by them, you can't get too emotional. You can't get too emotional when they're down. You can't get too emotional when they are up. You have to ride the many waves that you're going to go through on YouTube. YouTube is always changing, making small changes. Very rarely does it go through ginormous changes or changes that will kill your channel if you're posting good content. So like, for example, a lot of people over the years like, oh, YouTube doesn't work anymore. Now it's working. Now it doesn't. For my basketball channel, I've never really paid any attention to that. I've just stayed consistent to my end goal, which is continue to create great content that helps a lot of people and build a business while I do it. And I haven't really seen any of those fluctuations. Like, yeah, every now and then I'll get more views or less views based on if basketball's in season or not. But those are things I can't control. So what can I control? And that's what I focus on. And what I can control is how many videos I post, how great the content is that I create. So that's my main goal. With that being said, there's a few things that you can keep in mind when you do YouTube. All right. So this is what you need to focus on when you get your channel rolling. Obviously, it's too early to look at analytics when you post one video, even when you have 5 videos. Like, yes, you can look at the analytics, but YouTube takes some time to really start to learn your channel, learn your content and stuff. But over time, your analytics become more and more important. So the first thing I always do every time I upload a video is I watch this like a hawk. This gives you a ranking of your current video based on when you look at it. So right now I'm looking at this. This is 3 days and 6 hours since I last posted this video. So it gives that comparison. But YouTube gives you this comparison after 1 hour, 2 hours. So you can immediately tell when I uploaded this video, the first day in the first hour, it was ranked number 6 out of 10. 3 days later, it's ranked number 6 out of 10. So within that first hour, you can tell how your video is going to do based on how it ranks in your last 10 videos. So you'll know that, and you can see these are similar, but you have one that just really stands out. So that's the first thing I do. Second thing I do, once I see that, okay, cool, that's where I'm at. Next thing I do is I look at, okay, my top recent videos. Out of these 1 through 10, what were they about? Shooting, moves. This was a shooting one. Layups, moves, dribbling. This is a moves. And these 2, I did some experimenting, didn't go so well. I did Coach Rock's basketball workout, knee pain when jumping higher. So kids don't want that. All right. Hey, the only way you can figure that out is by testing. Okay. So the next thing I do, all right, next thing I do is I actually click this analytics section right here. I don't really pay attention to anything up here. All I pay attention to is my top videos for the last 28 days, my top videos for the last 48 hours. All right. So first, I like to click the 48 hours one, and I want to see what has been working the past 48 hours. And as you can see, YouTube is really an evergreen content. I have content from 2017. My best video I posted in 2017, still getting over 5,000 views a day. So this video itself is generating me hundreds of leads a day just from one video, and it has been every day since 2017. Think about that. So that's the first thing I'll do is I'll analyze this. When I say analyze, I don't just look at it. I look at what's the topic. My top 2 videos the past 48 hours are basketball moves. Okay, 3 out of 4 basketball moves. So I know what is working for my channel. So I'll go through and I'll make a list of this, all right? And I have a team of people that actually dissect this even deeper than I do. They're more like computer analytical than I am. I simply help them create the document. But they'll look at what are the headlines like, you know, best one-on-one moves. So this is like a best of. This is a listicle. This is master the Euro step layup. This is basically like a how-to, how to master the Euro step layup. How to, listicle, how to, listicle, how to, listicle. So you can see, I really practice what I preach. Like in my free training, I gave you 2 headline samples, a how to and a listicle. What do you know? All my videos follow that same freaking template, all right? That same formula. And I do that in all the businesses and all the YouTube channels that I run or that I help run. So boom, okay? So I'll do that. I'll do the same thing. That was the last 48 hours. Now I'll do the last 28 days. And I kind of go through the same exact thing. And I'll mix and match this document with the other document. And I'll really start to look at even little things like, okay, there's caps. So 4 of my top 5 videos have caps in the headlines. 2 of my top 10 videos has emojis. Maybe I should mix caps and emojis. I did that here. I didn't do that here. How to. So I'll dissect a lot of these. Another thing I look at, all right, what I'll start to do is look at how long these videos are. 8:57. All right, let's see. 7:58. Again, I'll have a document with all these times on it, so it's easier to kind of put them all in one place. 9:54, 10:54, 6:35, 10:17. Let's see, 12:11, 13:10. So you can now start to see 13:11, 7. So I know my rate is around 7 to 12 minutes, like I taught on the free training. And you can see the average view duration here. Impression click-through rate here. So then I'll look at that. Okay, my impressions, this had 10.8, 11.5. What was the headline? What was the thumbnail? Okay, so 10 point, all right, 10 point. So what am I noticing? This has arrows in it. Yellow. These are my top click-throughs. X, check. Now, keep in mind the headline also has to do with a click-through rate, but the thumbnail is very important as well. So what I like to do is look at all my thumbnails over 10. All right. It seems like a lot of them have text in them, or they have colors that really pop. 12. So this green text, I should probably try that a little more because I got a 12% click rate on that. I'll look at some of the 9.6s. So you can just see this is my process every time I upload a video. Anytime anytime I'm teaching something, it works well as well. 15.5. Here's another cool thing I could do. Just click the impressions thing right here. So now I can see some of my. Now, one thing to keep in mind is when you're looking at your impressions rate, you also want to look at the views. So these videos don't have that many views. So I think it'd be more important to look at my views and then compare the impression. So videos with a lot of views and a lot of impressions. And with a high click-through rate, I should say. And then you can look at the watch time. I found that watch time is important, but when it comes to generating watch time, you can't generate unless you get a click. So I spend a lot more time on these headlines and these thumbnails, and I think the watch time takes care of itself, because if I create content people like, they're going to watch. That's how I look at it. But there are things you can do to make your content pop even more. So let's say I go to this video right here. Then I'll look at I'll look at the videos where I have high watch time or low watch time, and then I'll follow along. And this tells you when people stop watching. So I like to go here. And what you want in your content is you want these upticks, because that means people went back to watch this section. So
watch the one move where you saw in between spin.
So I did a little spin move here, and people came back to watch. And this is the same thing that happens for all videos. It'll slowly trickle down. But right here, I got more people to watch. So what happened from here to here?
So I come down, feint cross, other hand. And I would do it over and over and over and over.
So I'm like demonstrating, all right? So I want to get a lot of upticks, and I found that adding text sometimes in your can add the uptick.
Get there, then add
Because
getting
what
a
happens a
good
lot of
shot.
times on YouTube is just like content when people read blog posts. We skim through the content. So we'll watch it like, okay, what's he talking about? Boom. Okay, I see him getting ready to do a move. Let me watch here. Okay, let me skip through. So we skip through content just like we skip around in blog posts. So adding text and adding different things can have people say, oh, snap, there's something here. Obviously, I need to look at it. What did it say? And that's what would happen here. If you're trying to skip through and you see that text, you're like, oh, hold up, let me go back. And it seems like that's what happens from here to here in this little uptick.
So I could be here.
So those are ways that you can find how you can optimize your videos. I also found that sometimes adding this call to action makes the vid, obviously the end of videos dip. So if I've sampled not having call to actions in there to see if the audience dips. So let me give you an example. If I can find one really quick. Go to videos. I think one of my longer videos. So key mistakes here. This was our last really good video. Performed really well. So you can see, look at these upticks. This is good. Like obviously from the beginning to when content goes, but boom, it immediately rises. Why did it rise?
So I can show you some tips to avoid on your shot that can help you start making more shots in real games.
So people pretty much skip the intro,
so the first thing that you want to avoid
and they get into the content.
That I want your art.
So that's one thing I saw. Another uptick over here.
Easier. I mean, it's consistency, because the less things you're doing, the less high you're jumping, the easier it is to remain consistent with your form and with your entire shot.
So we go to a live example, and this is much more entertaining, so people come back to that. All right, so you can see how we utilize that. And then of course, once I have the call to action, so I didn't actually have that, but some videos I sample not having this. You can see how I have a separate screen.
Whatever it is you're doing, but you have to be ready to catch that ball, rise up, shoot, focus, eyes to the rim, everything that's needed to be a great shooter. If you found today's video...
So a lot of times when I go to that call to action screen, people leave. So sometimes experiment with not having that, all right? Obviously it adds length to your videos, which helps your overall watch time. And it helps the length of your video, helps you get over 10 minutes, so you can implement that 10-minute rule like I talked about in the free training. But sometimes people will leave as soon as that happens. So what if I just had content throughout the entire video and keep people on just a little bit longer? Those are things I contemplate every single video. Those are things you need to contemplate before you do your videos, and you will see great success with your YouTube.